So we are a few hours post-race, and back at the Airbnb, licking my wounds a little bit after the day. Definitely didn't go how I hoped the day went, but that's racing. I was pretty happy with the lead-in. I felt good. Everything was firing how it should be coming into race morning, and so I was really, I really thought I was going to be in a good place to put together a good day. I got into transition this morning, and for whatever reason, when I went to pump up my tire, my rear tire, it went flat, and so I had to do a quick change. And usually I bring an extra latex tube, and today I didn't, and so I was in a butyl tube. Oh well, not that huge of a deal. But, it was still a bit of a scramble, and so I was a little bit behind my normal schedule. Didn't get the run in that I would have. The time I kind of allotted for the run, I used changing a tire. And anyways, I got that all sorted. Got to the start with plenty of time. They allowed us an ample warm-up, which I think I really benefited from. Really good swim warm-up. Usually we only get a couple minutes. This time we got 14, not 15, but 14. But it was good. I felt great in the water. The water temperature was like 61, which to me felt perfect. And so into the swim, I got off to a pretty decent start. I got boxed in right away, but was able to kind of claw my way back forward and get clean water within 100 yards and got on the feet that I wanted to be on. And I was swimming first pack again for the second race in a row. I was able to see the lead kayak, which is a great position for me to be in. I've been working a lot on the swim, and so it's great to see that progress going forward. I was swimming first pack. I was on the very end of the first pack. At the first turn, we had the gap broke up right behind me, and so I was on the back of that pack and felt comfortable, felt good, felt strong. So was swimming, just focusing really on staying on the feet in front of me, and after the second turn back to shore, a couple buoys past that, a gap opened up in front of me, and I wasn't aware enough. I was really focusing on feet. I kind of assumed we'd be able to stay all together at that point, but there must have been a surge out of the second turn that the guy in front of me wasn't expecting, and he got popped off the back. And so I tried to go around him, and I really swam hard to try to get back up to the group, and I got out of the water a couple seconds behind him, but it was a long transition run, so I was able to bridge that gap in the transition run, and so literally I was right where, I couldn't have scripted it out better. Probably one of the better swims in my career, if not the best, so we're starting with the positive. So that was good. Got out of T1, and that's where things came to a crashing halt, literally. I don't know exactly what happened, but I jumped on the bike and started pedaling, and as soon as I started, I got like 2 or 3 pedal cycles in, and then the chain just jammed between the front derailleur and the front chainring is what I think happened. I don't know exactly what happened, but all of a sudden my chain locked and I went up and over and crashed and lost my group and lost a lot of I broke the bento box off, and the Q box lid broke off as well behind me. And so I spent a couple minutes trying to collect myself and get everything back together and get back on the bike and get the chain. After I crashed, the chain got stuck in between the frame and the small chain ring, go figure, because it went off the other side. But so it took a little bit to get that, lost a ton of time, lost my head a little, I lost just the confidence that I had. Like, I'd just put up the best swim I had set up a great day, And then, it just all kind of went away with that. And then I was now riding with the really strong riders early on instead of getting a chance to settle in and get my position in the group, and while the stronger riders come up to me. So that was pretty frustrating, and I banged my knee and my shoulder pretty good coming out of there. To be honest, it really didn't hurt while I was riding. I could feel it. There was just a lot of tightness in the knee, but I've got to be able to ride better than that. I swam really well, I ran really well, but the last 4 races that I've had, 4 races into the season now, and I just haven't left feeling like I rode anywhere capable of what I was. And part of that is the plan that I'm trying to really hold back early in the season and really peak late. I've talked about that a number of times. But it's still hard to be patient when you're seeing, races that I should be in and be competitive in. And, I'm just moving backwards on the bike a little bit. And, so, the plan was going to be to go straight into a bike build from here. That's probably going to be delayed a little bit due to some knee issues that I'm having right now due to the crash, but we'll take that one day at a time, and maybe it's time for a little bit of a forced break, and then we'll hit it up in a week or so. But we'll take that one step at a time, I guess. So I got through the ride. I really didn't feel great early on after the crash. Probably the mental focus wasn't there. I was frustrated with myself, and so it took me a little bit to get back into the swing of things. Got to the climb up into Snow Canyon, and that's when all of a sudden I could put some power on the pedals a little bit. Not where I should have been, but I was happy with, I guess, or okay with how I rode up the canyon. And then and then the descent into town was fine as well. Got onto the run, felt fine. My knee was definitely tight. And then, a couple miles in, I just start hearing this clicking over and over again, and I thought it was like my race belt rubbing against my thigh or something like that, and it turned out that it was the outside of my knee. The IT band was clicking in my knee, and it just kept getting louder and louder and louder throughout the entire run. And I was able to run okay still, especially downhills when my stride was fully open. It wasn't it wasn't really limiting me too much. But running uphill was when I noticed it the most, and I was limping pretty good going uphill. And then as soon as I crossed the finish line, it just started swelling up, and it's quite swollen right now. So I'm getting some ice and anti-inflammatories and taking care of it, and so we'll take a couple days probably easy after this, and just reassess on Wednesday when I get home. I'm flying out to North Carolina here for a couple things, which I'll talk about a little later. But a couple things here on Monday and Tuesday. And so overall I finished 11th, which is quite painful to finish just outside of the money, and then to kind of add insult to injury. Lionel and Sam both outran me by 3 seconds. They had a phenomenal day and a sprint finish, and I was hoping at least the goal when I got out onto the run was I knew I was in a tough place. I think I was 25th off the bike or something like that, and it was just try to get to the top 10, try to have a best bike or run split, and salvage something positive out of the day. At least come home with some sort of paycheck, and kind of missed on both of those, unfortunately, by just a few seconds, but that's racing. I'm not exactly sure what next is going to be. I still fully plan on racing Iowa in Des Moines in the end of June. Living most of my adult life in Iowa, I can't really miss that, but that's the next race that I'll be queuing off of, most likely, unless, this doesn't come around like I think it will, to run fairly well on it. I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal, but yeah, it's definitely looking like a bit of a grapefruit right now, and hopefully it stops there and doesn't swell any worse. But that's a wrap here. It was a good preview for 70.3 Worlds. I definitely have a little bit of, a lot of confidence that I can be successful on this course. I ran well despite, being really not in the race at all. And I swam really well. And, so I just got to, not crash coming out of T1. And then just now it's time to sort out the bike fitness. And that's been a little bit of the plan all along, is to keep the bike volume a little bit lighter so I could focus on the swim. That was definitely the limiting factor for the last number of years, and when I start putting a lot higher volumes in on the swim, higher volumes in on the bike, it's hard to make real improvements on the run. And so again, it's all kind of part of the process, and part of the season progression that Coach Julie and Coach Matt and I set up at the beginning of the year was, this year was focusing on trying to peak in October and September, and not right away in April and May like I have in the previous years. It's still a little bit tough to take on the ego when I'm not racing as well as I want to be. But again, that was the commitment that I made early on, was to allow that to happen. And so, yeah, just reminding myself over and over again to stay patient. But anyway, thanks for listening or watching or whatever, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, bye.